I don't always do this, but this week I'd like to use a PowerPoint to kind of help organize my ideas. What we're going to be talking about this week is what I noticed in the videos that you shared with me, what you need to do for your midterm seminar event, and finally, just the work I would like to see you doing on your final project. I really enjoyed watching your videos, both because it was great to see the edited video that you made, but also because it shows me that you guys seem to be on your way to being able to do well in the discussion events. I did notice some of this.
Now that we have all shared our intuitive feelings towards each other's topics,
Do you see that?
now
People
that
are
we have
kind of
all shared
kind
our
of
towards
laughing.
each other's topics,
I saw this in more than one group for sure.
Campaign. I mean,
Yeah, that's really that
Starts here
really
in the
reminds
top
me
right
of
and it kind of
something we
spreads to
learned
the
from the
bottom
yin
left, and
course,
then now it's
like
at the top, and now everyone's
the
all happy.
basic characteristic.
There's certainly nothing wrong with this. It's nice to see you guys both having fun, and I think there's some meaning behind this.
Yeah, we seem to be in agreement. Can we move on to the different video we watched?
Of course, I haven't seen the whole video, and I don't know exactly why you're laughing, but I think part of it, if not most of it, is that it feels funny because you're like doing exactly what I said, or you're kind of being forced to use this language that I gave you so you can put it in the video. Or maybe you were even talking about doing that and then you do it and it's funny because you were just talking about it even though I can't see that. That's okay. I think this is good. Now you're kind of practicing or pretending to do a role as you use this language, maybe. But the more you do it and the more you practice and pretend, the more it will become a habit. And then you will just naturally do these very important and natural and academic things in a discussion. So even if it's funny, that's okay. I just want to see you doing it. And the more you do it, the more it'll stick and the more natural it'll become, which of course is why you're taking this course. Back to the PowerPoint, let's talk about those 4 things I asked you to send me clips of you doing in your discussions. Recognizing consensus and moving on is probably the one you guys are best at.
Actually, I think because we three, Sharon, Anakin, and me are kind of talking about the same topic. So why don't we just start from Clear's?
Just as Tim said, I personally agree with what he's talking about. And I see Lydia and Eric has been nodding their head as Tim said, so we reach a consensus here. Let's move on to the next video. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, I think we have already talked a lot about the definition of homogenization. Maybe we could move on to the next topic.
It's pretty easy. The only thing I can add is, one, make sure there really is a consensus, and if there's not, feel free to speak up and be like, wait, I still want to, maybe you sense some disagreement or you have some ideas that you want to share. Don't be afraid to reject the consensus if you don't feel it's there.
It sounds like we all think, what about let's move on to the next videos.
Let's look at challenging ideas now. So I did see some challenges from your videos, but to kind of help you understand what I'm looking for here, I'd like to kind of divide them into different ways you can challenge or doubt or be critical of people in your group. And the first way is, and this is what I saw mostly in the video, is clarification. You just don't understand what somebody's saying, so you ask them to further explain it or to clarify what they just said.
Sorry, I can't see very clearly what you mean by YouTube and stories. Could you elaborate more specifically or give an example of it?
Or you can ask for an example to help you understand it. But here you're looking to find out more about what somebody is saying.
Can you give me some examples, like does YouTube or online video platforms also affect your choices of the universities or some others private institutions? I'd like to hear from your own experiences.
Another thing you can do is reconsideration. This is where you don't think that somebody quite understands something correctly. That is, it's not that you think that they're wrong, you think that they just misunderstand something, right? And you can say things like, wait, I don't know if you understand exactly what I'm talking about, or I don't think you quite get what the speaker was saying in that video, or I think you may have missed something in your explanation of whatever. So there you're challenging to maybe help them understand something better.
Yeah. So I think.
But do you think?
All right.
Do you think there's any other way for me to find a vlogger?
Actually, I would not fully like pressure some emotions that they can feel they are kind of connected or something aroused their thinking.
I think those two examples kind of help you see this. One way you can think about reconsideration is, yeah, but, right? You're not wrong, but there's also this. And then the final kind of challenge is you simply think that they're wrong. You don't agree with what they're saying. You don't see the issue in the same way.
The video I chose from the playlist is the same with Glorious. My dad said, but I have some different ideas about that video in the regard of art.
Here you think you're wrong, and here you can say things like, and I see this sometimes, I don't quite agree with what you're saying, or I'm not sure if that's right, or here's the wait, you know, I'm not 100% sure if you're correct on that.
I slightly disagree with this because I remember that in a crash course, the lecturer says that amusement art doesn't change how we interact with.
So there, you understand what they're saying. You think they understand what they're saying too, but you're just not sure if you agree if it's correct. This last group kind of does them all real quick.
Wait, I'm not sure about that.
Wait, but I think.
Oh, sorry, but I don't quite see what you're saying. Can you give an example?
And contrary to Catherine.
So those are some different ways that you can challenge people. One, to better understand them. Two, to help them better understand something. And finally, you know, to show disagreement if you don't think that the ideas that they're sharing are correct. Next, we have connecting to and expanding sources. Again, I saw lots of examples of this in the videos you sent me. I don't even think I need to share them. The important thing is to do this as much as you can with as many different sources as you can make connections to with whatever you're talking, both sources from class and also the research that you've done out of class. And then as much as you can to expand on what they're saying, to exemplify.
It reminds me of the topic of like civil engagement on the topic of participatory culture we discussed before. I think it's like one typical example of how this participatory culture like facilitates the social engagement.
But don't forget to bring up the sources that talked about that. In this case, I think you could use Jenkins, his TED Talk, or Burgess and Green in their book. Cite the sources, though. That's key. Finally, there's the language of unsureness. And this is kind of the one thing that I didn't really see in what you sent me. I saw a lot of this.
I'm wondering what's the difference between homogenization and some tradition, or we can say that some traditional media, that's the information provided by the traditional media.
So first of all, it's okay to not be so sure how you want to say something. Don't worry too much about stumbling through language. But what I think the speaker was doing in that clip was either asking someone to explain something or asking the group to talk about something to better understand something. And that's what a lot of your unsureness examples were. They were being unsure about somebody else and what they're saying. So what I mean when I talk about the language of sureness is really unsureness in what you're doing. So that could be unsure how you say something. Either you don't know the vocabulary or it's kind of hard to put it out. You can use language to give yourself permission to say something that you're not quite sure how to say, right? I don't know exactly how to say this, but I think da 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 da. Another way you can be unsure is if you're right, right? Like, I don't know if this is true, but da 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 da, or I don't know if this makes sense to me, but dun 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 dun. You're giving yourself permission to say something that you're not sure if it's correct. Finally, you can be, or not finally, but you can also be unsure if something is appropriate. Maybe you have an idea, maybe you have a connection to one of our sources that you want to bring in, but you're not sure if it fits in the best right here. And now finally, you might be unsure how something fits into the discussion. You have an idea, you have an example, you want to bring it up. You think maybe it fits here, but you're not sure how it does that, right? So you can say, I'm not sure if this is the best time to share this, but I don't know if that exactly matches your definition, but, and you can give that. But again, you're using unsure language to give information that you yourself as the speaker are unsure of. And we want to hear that. I think it's good to bring that out because it could very well lead to a good discussion between you and your other group members, or you can get help on how to say something, or help understanding how something fits in, or help seeing if your view of something is, matches the other people in your group. So I think it's good to share things that you're unsure about, but I realize that that might be hard. And this is some language that's designed to give you permission to do this so that you can bring these ideas into the discussion without worrying about if they're right or how to say that. Those are all things that I expect to see in your midterm seminar event, which you're going to be doing this week. Let me just talk briefly about how you're going to be doing that. I'm going to put you in another group of 4. This is not your learning team. This is a different group of people. That's who you'll be having the discussion with. Once you do the thing, each person in your group will briefly share about 3 minutes, again, very quickly, their research about their topic that they chose about one impact on society from online video. As you do this, again, remember to cite the sources that you're using to share what you have. Then, after everyone has shared, all together, you're going to have a spontaneous academic discussion. Spontaneous means you haven't really prepared for this. You're just going to talk about what everyone said and what you've learned and what you think about this and how it relates to different things that we've learned in our course. Of course, you're going to do this on Zoom, like we've done all our discussions before. Again, I want you to record it. I do want it, please do this. I think every group but one got this in the grid format so I can see everyone at all times. Really do. That really helps me watch your discussion. There has been one thing with Zoom. Apparently now it's not maybe possible for NYU students to record Zoom meetings, but there is a workaround around this, and that is to make your own personal Zoom account. Let me know if you have any questions to do this. You have all week to complete this task. Talk amongst your group, find a time that works for everybody. I know that people are busy with other midterm exams. Find a time that works. But before you do that, do a test run with the technology. Make sure somebody can be the host, someone can get it recorded, that all of those things work. You don't want to do that necessarily at the end of the week. That way, if you have problems, you can figure them out before this is due. Again, you'll record it on Zoom and you'll send it to me like you have been doing. The rubric I used before will be the same one I used to assess your midterm seminar event. So take a look at that again. That's all we have for week 7, except, of course, I expect that you'll continue working on your final project. I put the phase 2 report up, but again, note you have 2 weeks to do this. Here, once you've kind of decided on who you want to interview, you're going to be planning what kind of information you want to get from your interviewee and how you're going to do that. Next week, I'll be going into more depth about how to do interviewing and how to plan your interview, but I want you to be thinking about that as you are probably still working on who you're going to interview for your project. I'll be going through your phase 1 reports about your interview ideas, but you can also be thinking about the next step, which is planning the interview. Otherwise, it's just the midterm seminar event discussion. That's all I have. Good luck with the rest of your midterms, and I look forward to seeing your academic discussions for your midterm seminar event. Let me know if you have any questions or any problems, and I'll do my best to get to them as I can.